Shalom, shalom. First foremost, as always, I let it give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to Elder Tahar and the rest of the elders that are fervently pushing this truth. And as always, peace and blessings unto the elect. Back on the laptop, haven't been on here in a while, but this is important news. All right, this is from Off Grid Desert Farming with Paul and Adrian. And I believe the brother Ariyah had put me on to this channel. You know, the water, to the brother Ariyah, fervent brother. But it says China threatens to shoot down Nancy Pelosi's plane if it tries to land in Taiwan. Hey man, so China's not playing. All right, China's not playing around with Nancy Pelosi. Oh, which by the way, this is official news. All right, and as you can see, she's a Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. So she's up there. All right, she's clearly a representative of the United States of America. Right, so she's up there in the ranks, and this is official news. See, China confirms warning to U.S. on Pelosi's possible Taiwan visit. Hey, so these different nations, man, listen, these different nations, they're not looking at America as a threat anymore. All right, America is not that bully on the block anymore, man. And these nations are showing America, like, yo, stop messing with us because we are going to retaliate against you. So I'm going to play some of the video, and then we're going to get into some precepts.
Hello, everybody. This is Paul from Off Grid Desert Farming with Paul and Adrian. This is July the 25th, 2022, and we have some breaking news for you guys this morning. But I want to welcome everyone to our live chat. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell. But we have some breaking news coming in about Nancy Pelosi's scheduled flight to Taiwan to visit that country. Now, China is very, very upset about this visit because this will be the highest-ranking visit of an American politician since 1997. And I hope you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. I just want to make sure everything is working okay. But this is the breaking news this morning, and folks, this could cause a war between China and the United States. So let's go ahead and dive into it.
Just pausing it real quick. It wouldn't just be a war between China and the United States. Russia will be intervening into that as well, pursuant to prophecy, pursuant to Ezekiel the 38th chapter. Russia being a guard unto these different nations. And not too long ago, Putin called for the BRIC alliance to basically get closer, get tighter together. So it just wouldn't be between China and America. Russia would be intervening into that as well.
This morning, and get you the breaking news, what is going on. Readiness in China's fighter squadrons. Beijing officially threatened to shoot down Nancy Pelosi's plane. There is now a missile alert in Taiwan. So this is looks like our F-35 fighter jets, I think. That's our F-35. It said the thermometer of tension in the Pacific region is rising sharply as China threatened military measures against the aircraft that will carry the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, to Taiwan. Missile attack sirens sound in Taiwan as the nation prepares for the worst-case scenario as U.S. fighter jets escort Nancy Pelosi's plane. The possibility of entanglement is very high. Pelosi will be the most senior U.S. official and politician to visit Taiwan since then Republican President Newt Gingrich traveled to Taipei in 1997. Beijing opposes any move that appears to give Taiwan legitimacy as an independent country. Inside the U.S., there are serious disagreements in the Pentagon and State Department, and everyone in the Asian Pacific region wishes that this trip could be diplomatically postponed. A while ago, the representatives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China publicly confirmed the threats to the United States of America. The same information is carried by the American media. Spokesman Zhao Lingjing told a daily media briefing that the Chinese side will take forceful and strong measures if the visit takes place. China has repeatedly expressed its strong opposition. China has recently made it clear on several occasions to the United States that it strongly opposes Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. We are fully prepared if the U.S. insists on the trip. Then China will take strict and strong measures to ensure its national security, and the U.S. will be fully responsible for any serious consequences. If the United States persists in its own way, China will take strong measures to respond and resolutely resist.
All right. You see that? So that's what, caught my attention. That's all we need to hear. Man, this is beautiful. And this is all according to biblical prophecy. All right. This is Isaiah, the 14th chapter. All right. Because we can see that Esau, all right, we can see that the United States, their rulership is done. All right. We're entering into a paradigm shift. All right. We're entering into a transition of power. And ultimately, that power is going to be restored unto Jacob. But the Heavenly Father is putting the spirit on these different kings of the earth to rise up against America. All right, starting with Russia. All right, family, go ahead and grab that. Jeremiah 51 and verse 40. Actually, Jeremiah 50 and 40. This is Jeremiah 50 and verse 40. It says, as the Heavenly Father overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. That's right, because America's going to be utterly wasted away. All right. And those neighboring cities were Zeboim, Admah, Zoar. All right. And then you had Sodom and Gomorrah. So it was 5 cities that had got overthrown, right? So verse 41, behold, the people shall come from the north, which is Russia, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. You see that? And many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And one of those kings is China. All right, the ruler or the leader of China. Okay, the ruler and the leader of Iran. All right, Brazil, India, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Argentina. All these different nations that are trying to get down with the BRIC alliance, which ultimately they're following Russia. Because Russia just invested like a $40 billion gas pipeline in Iran. So that's just fully solidifying their partnership. You see? And if America tries to mess with Russia's investment, they're going to get blown away. Verse 42, they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel. It will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses. Everyone put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. Ultimately, we know those are dealing with the nuclear missiles, because pursuant to Joel, the 2nd chapter, go ahead and grab it, the missiles are likened to horses. Joel chapter 2 and verse 4. It says the appearance of them is as the appearances of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. That's right. This is dealing with the nuclear missiles. All right, because when horses are running, they're running in complete order. All right, none of them is crashing into each other. All right, they're all in their own ranks, and that's how the nuclear missiles are going to be guided. Why? Because Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. This is Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. See how the missiles is likened to a great people. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together for what? For war. Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. That's right, which we can go into the word for mustereth. It means to oversee. So the angels are going to be guiding these missiles to its intended target, which these missiles can get over here in a short period of time, by the way. All right. So now Isaiah 14 and verse 4, it says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Yahweh had broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Is right. So the Heavenly Father is breaking the staff or the power of the wicked. And that's what we see. Because these nations long ago, man, they couldn't step up to America like that. They couldn't talk to America like that. Now these different nations are saying, like, look, man, if America persists to try and do what they're talking about doing, man, they're gonna have to take strong repercussions for their actions. And that's all prophecy pursuant to Joel, the 3rd chapter. Let the weak say that I am strong. Because now all these different nations, man, they're clicking up with each other. They have a backing, they have a support system, and they have the equalizer. They have these nuclear missiles. Let's listen to this again.
Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. We are fully prepared if the U.S. insists on the trip. Then China will take strict and strong measures to ensure its national security, and the U.S. will be fully responsible for any serious consequences. If the United States persists in its own way, China will take strong measures to respond and resolutely resist.
When in the period of history since the conception of America was words being said like that? Huh? This is how you know that we're in a whole paradigm shift, that the rulership of America is over with. Let me go ahead and get this now. This is Isaiah 47 from the top. This is come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. See that? So there is no more throne. Meaning what? There's no more rulership. There's no more power. America is dethroned. Let's read in the NLT. It says, come down, virgin daughter of Babylon, and sit in the dust. For your days of sitting on the throne have ended. That's right. It's done. It's done for. Heavenly Father have numbered this kingdom and finished it. This is Daniel chapter 5 and verse 26. It says, this is the interpretation of the thing. Many, the Heavenly Father have numbered thy kingdom and finished it. See that? This kingdom is done. It's finished. And that's what we're seeing. Because no other nation, no nations over the course of American history, man, was talking to America like this. These are words of war. And they're talking about taking down a top official of the U.S. that can actually kill our ass. And they're willing to go that far. So that's how we know that America is done. The Heavenly Father is closing the curtains on this place. So it says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath their oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. That's right. And what does the word cease mean? Meaning cease from power. Rulership is over. Let's go into that word for cease. It's done. Shabbat, which is what we would say for the Sabbath, right? Now it says rest. Yeah, it's done. To exterminate, destroy, cause to fail. See that? So the oppressor is destroyed. The oppressor is removed. Removed from what? Power. It's done. The golden city is done. The golden city is destroyed. Right? Because after all these years, nobody would have ever thought that America would succumb to this estate. And everybody is so shocked. Everybody is so surprised. And we've been saying this, starting with our elders and their elders. This was already prophesied about. But hey, nobody would have thought. Nobody would have thought But here we are. We're in these times. It says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. That's right. And Esau did that by way of what? By his bombs. All right. And also through the spreading of his democracy. Because that's why Esau would go into these people's lands and take the resources and spread their democracy. And they will bomb them. Right? You read about that in Revelation, the 13th chapter. How he made fire come down when he bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Man, you still got to pay for all those things. This is he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted, and none hindered. That's right, man. Nobody is coming to the aid. Because they like, listen, we got bullied by this motherfucker too. So listen, it's all gas, no brakes on him. It says the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. And what is a feller? A feller is somebody that hewed down trees, right? Which the trees represents these different nations. Because when you read the scriptures, trees are likened unto nations, right? Just give down to verse 10. And they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Actually weaker. Art thou become like unto us? Meaning what? A weak nation. Why? Because ultimately in the kingdom of heaven, man, all these nations are going to be weak. Because we're going to be on top. But they're going to be even weaker. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Yeah, man, how did you fall from that high estate that you're in? The Heavenly Father did it, pursuant to Isaiah, the 10th chapter. Let's go ahead and get that. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 12. It says, wherefore it shall come to pass that when Yahweh hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria and the glory of his high looks. That's right. We know that America is likened unto Assyria as well. The Heavenly Father said, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria, which we can go into the word for stout. Stout means bravery, or stout means proud, which you read the book of Daniel 7 and verse 21. It talks about how the little horn, his look is more stout than his fellows. Daniel 7 and verse 20. It says, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, are dealing with the EU, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, which is dealing with the France, the Spanish, and the British, right? Even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, dealing with a little horn, which is America, whose look was more stout than his fellows. You see that? Meaning what? Esau is the proudest of his other Edomite counterparts. So that's how we know who that stout heart is talking about. It's talking about the so-called white man, the American Edomite. Verse 13, for he saith, by the strength of my hand have I done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people. See? Proud as shit. I removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. That's right. And that's why China is like, yo, man, you come over here to Taiwan, man, you try to come over here, all right, that damn woman, man, we're going to goddamn take her ass out in the sky. We're going to take her ass out. Ain't none of that anymore. Man, these nations not playing around anymore. They're not playing with America. America is not the bully on the block anymore. That shit is over with. Verse 14, and my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped. That's right, because nobody had that nuclear capability like they have now to actually stand up against America. But now everybody's standing up against you, devil. All right, all these different nations are now they're dealing treacherously with thee, pursuant to Isaiah 33 and 1. All right, because you had Biden. He went over there to Saudi Arabia to talk to the Saudi prince. He gave him a pound. Man, the Saudi prince gave him a pound. Man, that's disrespectful. That's unprofessional as a leader. Hey, but you know what? he shook Putin's hand, and they were smiling. Let's go ahead and look at it. Saudi prince and Putin. Look at that. Look at them, man. They laughing, smiling with each other. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Now look at Saudi Prince and Biden. Bro, I seen a little bit of the interview. He had a serious look the whole time. Just a pound. A fist bump. Yeah, so Slovakia. Yeah, so the rulership of Esau is done. The age of Esau is finished. So let's read it again. It says, and my hand have found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth. Yeah, basically Esau went around and spoiled many nations. And there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peep. Yeah, nobody stepped up and said nothing, because it wasn't time. It wasn't time yet. Ultimately, it wasn't time for people to stand up against Esau. But now we're in those times. Why? Because we're in a paradigm shift, and ultimately, man, these different nations, they're actually getting us prepped to rule. But verse 12 says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?" That's right, because Lucifer means beaker of light. Going to the word for Lucifer, Hebrew word Hayalau, which means beaker of light, light bearer, right? Because everybody follows America, right? Everybody follows the so-called white man. But in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to be the new Lucifer. We're going to be the new beaker of light, right? It says, "How art thou cut down to the ground, yet to a lower state, which did is weaken the nations." That's right, which did is weaken the nations. But now that shit over with. Heavenly Father said, "Let the weak say that I am strong." Now these different nations are strong. So now let's go into the NOT. It says, "You will taunt the king of Babylon. You will say, the mighty man has been destroyed. Yes, your insolence is ended," which we can go into the word for insolence. Insolence basically means their pride, their boldness is done. Let's go ahead and look it up. Shalakia. Insolence. So let's look that word up. And it says arrogance, haughtiness. See that? Arrogance, haughtiness. So their haughtiness, their arrogance is ceased, is done. And we see it. We see it, man. Esau is not so bold anymore. But verse 5, "For Yahweh has crushed your wicked power and broken your evil rule. You struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip. You're with unrelenting tyranny. But finally the earth is at rest and quiet. Now it can sing again." That's right. And that's what's going to happen when we get up into the power seat. See, this is happening right now. Isaiah 14 is being fulfilled right now, man. Right now. And it will ultimately be fulfilled when the kingdom of heaven gets established. Verse 10, it says, "With one voice they all cry out, now you are as weak as we." Well, actually, man, they're going to be weaker. They're actually going to be weaker. Verse 12, how are you fallen from heaven, O shining star, son of the morning? You have been thrown down to the earth, you who destroyed the nations of the world." That's right, because America was once that bully on the block. Now it ain't. Now America has been made into a bitch. Like it says in Jeremiah. It says Babylon has turned unto woman. Now America turned to a bitch. All these different nations is punking them. They looking at America as food, man. America is nothing but food now, man. These nations is eating your ass up. Hey, man, what goes around comes around. Your ass is reaping what you've been sowing in the earth. Job 4 and verse 8. It says, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. That's right, man. You reaping the same. Right? You've been plowing that iniquity. You've been sowing that wickedness. Now all these nations are rising up against you. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 6. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against them? Talking about these different nations. And a taunting proverb against them, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Was that thick clay dealing with heavy depths? And that's what these different nations are saying. Man, they're saying, man, destruction unto him that increased that which is not his. And that's what America is trying to do. America is trying to heap Taiwan. America is trying to heap Ukraine unto himself. But now these different nations are fed up. Yo, fingers crossed. I hope they have a sharpshooter in control. Man, that's funny as ever. Be my guest, R.I.P. Nancy, if you can. Hey, beautiful. We're living in some beautiful times. Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be booties unto them? That's right, because America is going to be for a spoil. Which, let's go into the word for bite. See what it says. Bite, to pay, to oppress with interest or loan. To bite. Yeah, so let's look at the etymology of the word. Let's see if it has some figurative meaning. Let's see. All right, so bite. So it says to split, to cut. All right, cut, penetrate. Right, that's what these different nations are doing. All right, these different nations are going to be used. Yeah, see that? Be thrown or struck down. Yep, die, be slain. Yep, exactly. So these different nations, they're going to be utilized to take down America, essentially. So it says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. That's right. So because you have done these things to different many nations, well, guess what? The remnant of the people, now they're going to do it to you. You see? So, man, you reap what you sow. All right, what you done did in the earth, man, ultimately it's going to get back to you. Which you didn't think, hey, but that's not how the power of the heaven and earth works, you know? All right, so with that, I want to close out. Yahweh Tazah, your few brothers and sisters were edified. All praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. With that being said, Shalom.